Big Shea Anything podcast coming up with Keith Hernandez, was in the booth for that elbow hit by pitch heard round the world. We'll discuss that with him. We'll also discuss what happened with Haji being potentially locked into the house and Keith locked out. We'll revisit that. Plus, obviously, Keith's impressions of the team so far from the booth. All of that coming up on this episode of the Shea Anything podcast. It starts right now. Welcome to the show, everybody. A reminder to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Doug Williams and Keith Hernandez with you on today's episode. Reminder also, 6 o'clock on SNY on weeknights, baseball night in New York. We discuss everything we discuss on this podcast just on television. It's probably the best way that I can sell it to you at home or in your cars, wherever it is that you're listening to this. Keith, we have a ton to discuss. Right off the bat, though, I want to play your reaction to the Michael Conforto game-winning hit by pitch on a strike call, because your reaction, as you put it, your phone's been ringing off the hook ever since. And it was the booth's reaction with you and Ronnie and Gary that got a lot of traction, because you were honest about what you saw. And that's not what a lot of fans in Major League Baseball are used to from their local booth. So let's take a listen.
1-2 coming. And the slider in there, strike three. Conforto's hit on the pitch. It in the strike zone. It hit Conforto. He made no effort to get out of the way. It was a strike, but he didn't move. And Don Mattingly is going to come out and argue the call with the home plate umpire, Ron Culpa.
The ball hit him, and it was going to be a strike. Yep.
So the Mets are celebrating. The Marlins are arguing. And unless this is overruled, the Mets have themselves a 3-2 win, as Conforto is nicked by a pitch. Now, by rule, you have to make an effort to get out of the way. And that's what the Marlins are arguing.
This is a strike, and he gets hit. Look at that. Oh, you can't do that.
They have totally got a case.
They got to bring it back.
Totally have a case.
They're going to. It's absolute.
He stuck his elbow right into that pitch.
It's going to be strike three.
And the umpires are conferring, and let's see.
So take me through, Keith. You watched that play. What's going through your head?
Well, that is such a unique play. It hardly ever happened. Although we have a few other players that lean in and don't try to get out of the way of the ball. Now, the rule is if a player doesn't try to avoid the ball, if the ball's out of the strike zone and he's hit, it's a hit by pitch. If he doesn't try to avoid the ball, just holds there like Nimmo does.
Yeah.
And also Jeff McNeil a lot. If the rule says the ball's in the strike zone and the player makes no attempt to avoid the ball, it's a strike and the batter's out. Now, when it originally happened, I'm not looking at Conforto's elbow. We have the center field camera, what the folks have at home. And on when he got hit, it looked funny. I think Gary made a great call. The only mistake that Gary made now was that he didn't make an attempt to get away from the ball, he said. So, but I just read you that rule. What that rule doesn't state is, as a hitter, you can't move your elbow in or any part of your body to get hit. And that ball was over the strike zone. So Ron Culpa blew the call. Now, it looked to me like he was going to raise his right hand on replay.
Yeah.
Strike. Well,
he was going to punch him out because, like he was going like that. I mean,
and then he changed his mind when Conforto did the routine that he got hit. But if he was going to call it a strike, Culpa blew the call.
Right.
And Gary was spot on. It's amazing. The list of things that we have to know, you as well, we get from MLB. It's a full page of challengeable calls and non-challengeable calls. I can't remember all of them. There must be like 24. And Gary was spot on saying you can challenge a hit by pitch. Well, Conforto was hit by the pitch.
Right.
But that didn't have anything to do with it. The rest of the call now, well, they try to get it right with all these challenges. And this is a play they just didn't think of because it just rarely it doesn't happen. And a lot of it is because players are allowed to wear these doggone elbow armor. I mean, I've got going to probably have to have surgery on my right elbow, which was my exposed elbow. It's right now I've had it drained 3 times. I probably got movable parts in there. Doesn't hurt, thank God. But that's from getting hit on my elbow and not trying to get hit, just trying to get out of the way of the ball. It hurts. You don't want to get hit in the elbow. The pad now allows Nimmo to sit there and get hit. And Jeff McNeil at times. Nimmo does it a lot. And it's perfectly legal. But I guarantee you, if his elbow ballooned up and he missed around 4 or 5 games, he wouldn't be sitting there doing that. He'd be getting out of the way. So that's kind of adds to the problem. Gary was amazing that he knew what was challengeable, what wasn't. Now the umpires conferred, and the second base umpire has the reverse view. He had the best view to see what the Conforto moved in. But I just think I feel for the umpires today. They are so over-regulated and people breathing over looking over their shoulder. I think that they're intimidated. And the fact that you have challenges, which I wish we just get rid of the challenges. I mean, they talk about, it's going to be a lengthy answer because it requires a lengthy answer.
By the way,
I know it's I can't help it. It's email, it's my notifications coming in on the computer. So just folks hang with it, deal with it. Where was I at? Umpires. I want challenges out of the game. They want to shorten the game. Get rid of the challenges. They add length to the game. Get off the backs of the umpires. Let them call the game. And the umpires are afraid to make calls because they're going to be overruled. And number one, you want competent umpires. Back in my day, we had really good umpires in the National League, but we had a handful of bad umpires. And everybody knew who they were. And they took a poll 2 years, I forget what years, in the 80s, of all the players, all the coaches, and the manager. And we rated the umpires. Now, there's more teams today. There's 900 plus players. In our day, it was 700 plus. You can't have, there might be a grudge here that someone might not like this umpire. It might be personal. But when you have 900 people, over 1,000 votes going in, it's going to be accurate because the players know the good umpires best, as well as the coaches and the managers. And in any business, if you have incompetence, you weed them out. And now you've taken away, sorry about that, you've taken away, umpires have to have the courage of their convictions. They've got to be strong and make decisions like they do and stick by them. And it's taken away from that. The umpires are looking over their shoulder. And also, it's provided the challenges have provided a crutch for them. And I've seen a few guys just get lazy and make calls and go, well, if I'm overruled, I'm overruled. Well, if I have pride in my performance and I'm not singling anybody out or making a collective gripe, I'd be embarrassed if I'm overruled. I want to be right in my decision. And I think it's provided a crutch. I think it's a bad way to go. I really do. So it was a fortunate break for the Mets. Marlins had every reason to be absolutely pissed off to lose that game. Now they're 1-6. They're 1-5 going in that game. That's a tough loss right there.
What? This is kind of off topic. I'll get back to the Conforto thing in a second. Why do you think it is so rare that you guys see a play like that and you're not blinded by favoritism, and it's not about the fact that the Mets got lucky and the Marlins didn't? It's just about what you're seeing. Why do you think it is that in baseball right now, you're applauded for that when I think you and I would agree that it should be the norm across baseball that announcers are just honest about what they see?
Well, I would think that any I would hope that any broadcast would. I mean, the rules are the rules. And instant replay doesn't. You got to believe your lying eyes. I mean, come on. It's right there in front of you. You saw what Conforto did, and you saw the umpire going to ring him up. And we can see that it was a strike in the strike zone, the pitch, and the fact that the umpire confirmed that. Where's our credibility if we pull a homer on it? And I just don't think any booth would do it, to be honest with you. It was once the instant replays there, and you saw. I mean, it was obvious Conforto he was fooled by the pitch. He knew he was going down, and that was just, last minute, just to get hit. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow when he gets up the first time. I don't think anything's going to happen, but I know what would probably happen 40 years ago when he got up doing that. And you lost a game, but we'll see how I don't think anything's going to happen, to be honest with you, but I'm going to be watching be very curious to see how that first pitch comes out of the hand of, who was it, Trevor Rogers, whatever his name is, left-hander?
Yeah. Trevor Rogers is on the mound. When I watched it live, Keith, I was like, wow, he got hit by that pitch. But my instant reaction wasn't, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. It wasn't until the slow-mo replay that you're referencing where it's so clear that the elbow comes out. Right. As a former player, do you empathize a little bit with Conforto when you see that, where you're like, man, it is different when you're moving at full speed and it's very easy to watch from home on slow-mo and think that that's how it happened, when in reality the game is not played in slow motion?
Well, it was quick thinking on Conforto's part to try, but he doesn't know that the umpire was going to ring him up. He made his decision before. It's just something you don't do, okay? You don't do that. And
so you didn't think this was a situation where the slow motion replay just looks bad and his action wasn't with intent? Like, you think he was trying to get hit by the pitch?
Oh, most definitely was. Most definitely was. Should have been,
because I know you know Conforto,
and then they see if Alonso can do it.
I know Conforto, and it seems out of character for him. It's not that
it's not cheating. It's
right. I was about to say, it's like a strategy move.
It's just he made that decision at the last split second. And it's not cheating. I mean, it's not like someone goes out there and has a razor blade and starts cutting the ball, or you got a guy out there that's got binoculars in the scoreboard that's relaying signs, or have trash cans in the dugout. It's not that. It was just a split reaction, and Conforto got away with it. The Mets got away with it.
So there was another thing that got some traction on Twitter recently. There was a great sequence, just a really classic GKR sequence, where you are dealing with a ringing cell phone, which our listeners...
That was my emergency notification. Okay, that sound that's my specific...
That's your alarm?
That's my emergency notification on my phone. That is only if someone... And that's what startled me. And I'm going, oh my God.
So are you saying you have like a ring, like doorbell?
No, it's a specific ring. I have a ring. I have cameras around my house. So,
right. So that's what this was, right? It's someone on your property?
And I got a text right away and then it was a miscommunication. Robin, who runs North Sea Farms up the road here, my neighbor, takes care of Haji, and when I'm at the ballpark, feeds him, comes over. Well, I hadn't used her in a long time because a friend of mine, my trainer, was in the middle of a divorce and he had nowhere to go, and I let him stay in my guest room for like 2 years, so until he got himself back on his feet. And so he was taking care of Haji. So Robin hadn't fed Haji in 2 years, and it's cold and you got to hold the door in and then turn the lock. Otherwise it's tough. And she hadn't done it in 2 years. and she was afraid to break the key off in the lock. So she just left it there. And then she texted me saying that the key's in the door. And I thought in the text, she said the key broke off. I'm going to get home at a night game at 12:30, 12:45 at night, and I'm not going to be able to get in the house. So, so it had nothing to do with Haji. Haji's a cat. He can go without food. He's going to be fine. Okay, so the emergency wasn't Haji. The emergency was I'm going to get home at 12:45 when I'm tired, and I'm not going to be able to get in my house. So I had to go make some phone calls to Rich and, get a locksmith there if possible. So he's another neighbor. He went over and he was able to get the key out. So I was in a panic.
Let's play the clip. The best part of the clip is that Dom Smith hits a home run.
I know that was such bad timing. Such bad timing.
Let's play it.
Of course.
It was Dom Smith who struck out in his first at bat of the season. What is that sound?
That's me. Sorry.
Was that you?
Yes.
I thought that was coming from the ballpark. I was thinking, what is that?
I had the. Don't go there.
Don't go.
I got a slight emergency at home. That's what it is. That's
everything. Haji okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. But I thought I had the iPad turned off. And obviously I didn't. So.
Can we?
It's nothing serious.
Can we help in any way?
Someone was supposed to feed my cat, and she hasn't fed the cat in a while, and she used the wrong key, and it's jammed in the door. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in my house tonight.
No. Wait a second. Dom lifts one out to left. Hit pretty well. Back goes Joyce near the wall. It's out of here. Dom Smith with the Mets' first home run of the season. An opposite field 2-run shot.
Bad timing. A lot of people didn't like that. A couple. I read some of the tweets. So there are some people that don't like our wandering and just want a straight broadcast, and some people love it. A lot of people love it. And I always found out a long time ago when I first started this, you can't please everybody.
No. And by the way, who at home has been listening to you three for over a decade and is annoyed by that? That's got to be people who are listening to you for the first time, maybe, or people who are on the MLB app, or I don't know who would possibly not find that amusing. I mean, it's
and also
typical you three.
Gary plays up to it too. Gary could have not gone there, but Gary has a good sense of everybody thinks he's a straight man. Gary's got a very good sense of humor, very, very intelligent sense of humor. And Gary brought it into the broadcast to have fun. We can't predict the next pitch is going to be a home run. And the first, Dom Smith, that was, I when he hit the home run, I went, oh gosh, bad timing. Bad timing for the key to get broken in my lock. At that point, I thought it was broken my lock. But anyway, we got through it, and I got into my house. Haji was fine. He's a cat. It was me. I don't know how to call a locksmith at 12:45 in the morning, and he probably wouldn't get there till 1:30. Not get to bed till 3. I mean, wasn't optimal.
Oh, it was great. And by the way, if you're doing 3.5-hour baseball games and all you talk about is the baseball that you see, it's going to be a really boring broadcast. It's part of the reason why you guys are the best, is that it wanders in and out of what's going on. That's what you have to do. At least that's my opinion. So everything was fine. You got home. Keys not stuck in the lock. You're good to go. Haji's fine. Haji was always going to be fine. That was a great, and you're right. Gary ended up revisiting it too to make sure everything was fine. So he wanted it in the broadcast, and that's kind of the best part. Okay, so beyond Conforto, beyond Haji and Lockgate, let's move forward to the actual baseball you've been seeing, Keith. It's been. I don't know. I think it's been a really interesting start to the year. Obviously, some good, some bad. So let's do a 3-batter rule and work through 3 topics here. How do you think the bullpen looks?
Well, it got off to a shaky start. I think they'll settle down. Betances is on the IL. He was throwing off to the side like this, and I mentioned it to Ronnie, and it was like he was favoring his shoulder. But Betances may be, he had so many great years, a lot of innings, a lot of pitches. He might be heading for the last roundup. Everybody has to face that. Every ball player sooner or later. May had such a great spring, and I love him. He was just jacked up the first game. It's the first appearance in a Met uniform, new team. I was surprised they brought him in the next day and let him throw another 25 pitches, and he was throwing all breaking balls. I'm going, this is not the guy I saw. But yesterday he threw well. So it's everybody settling in. Loop, you don't want to hit. You come in to get a left-handed out. You don't want to hit him in the butt with a breaking ball. That's. But he's a veteran, and again, his first appearance in a Met uniform. I think we'll be okay. I think when Lugo comes back, which
you were right about Castro, by the way. Castro's looked great.
He looks great. He can just, I think, lose focus sometimes and get wild. He's got great stuff. He's the kind of pitcher that you can go up there and get 3 pitches and he make you look like a fool. And then you can go up there and he can be all over the place. And that makes him more effective. I hated pitchers that had a little bit of wildness to them because, usually when you got a pitcher who knows what he's doing, you can get, okay, this is how he likes to pitch me. Every pitch has a purpose. A guy like Castro, he may throw a fastball in the outside corner and the catcher could be set up inside. And you, as a hitter, looking this way, you can't see that. So you can't get a real feel for him. But he's got a great arm. He is going to get a lot of 7 innings, 7th inning, the bridge to the guy. But you can have May and him loop for the left. He's our only left-hander. Have to save him late to get a left-handed out. I don't like having only one left-hander in the bullpen. That's the only thing. Familia is Familia. He's going to have low leverage, middle of the game innings. The innings in the middle. Gazelman is going to be middleman early in the game. You want to have a strong back end, and I think we have that. I think Diaz threw well all spring. He had a good year last year. He's key. If Diaz can be that pitcher he was in Seattle, look out.
What do you think of the runners in scoring position at bats so far that you've seen? You think guys are pressing, or you think that this is just something that's going to level off?
It's only 4 games, but you're playing in New York. The media lets you know every day. So you got to get that out and get the negative out and focus on when you get up there to drive in that run. Now, collectively, teams can struggle like the Mets did last year. You're aware of it, and then it can snowball. It can infect the whole team. You don't want that to happen, but it's way too early right now. Like I said, McNeil had a bad spring, very bad spring. I wasn't worried about McNeil. And I remember saying late in the spring training game that I wouldn't be surprised if he gets off to a hot April. Okay, he's got his first hit. He's 1 for 11, 1 for 10. The home run was clutch. He's hit the ball hard. Of his 11 at bats, I'd say 7 or 8 times, and he's swinging the bat good. So I'm not worried about McNeil. So it's 4 games. It's early in the year. Fortunately, we had good weather so far. It hasn't been terribly cold because it's a warm weather sport. It's hard to get in the rhythm when you start the season and it's cold. It makes it more difficult to get in the rhythm of the season. So I'm not worried about the offense. I think what you're seeing right now, I'm seeing a lot of pitchers scared to death of our left, right. And our lineup is deep. And if you're going to pitch against this team, you cannot get scared. You're just going to have to go, okay, I got my hands full. I'm going to go after these guys. You're going to just have to be a real tiger out there on the mound. Because you start getting that worried about, I've seen a few pitchers, worried about Conforto, and then, you got Alonso behind him. Okay, now you got Alonso. You're worried about Alonso. Well, you got Dom Smith behind him. Pick your poison. So only one thing you can do is just grit your teeth and go after him hard.
I'm still fired up about the fact that Rojas benched Dom Smith on opening day for Kevin Pillar. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking, but let's get your impression of two starting pitching performances. David Peterson and Marcus Stroman. I was really impressed by Stroman. Peterson looked a little iffy. What did you see?
Peterson, remember, it was his first start. He didn't have a full season last year. Pitched great. He's lost his sinker. He didn't have it all spring. Now he was jacked up. It's his first start. It's his first time he's starting. It's really his first season. If he sticks it out,
right,
it's going to be his first full season. He was straight with his fastball, overthrowing, even, which I love, McCann behind the plate gave him the calm down. You're not a guy that's going to throw straight fastballs and throw it by people. You need sink, pull back. And he was just jacked up. But I was impressed with the fact that he threw 3 scoreless innings after that.
Yeah.
And okay, he gave up a base hit or a double to Hoskins, and then Harper bunts and puts down a perfect bunt. And you can't predict that. If I was playing first base and Harper was up with a runner on second base, I'd have been playing back. And even he tried to bunt the first time and didn't do it. I would have said, okay, he's just bluffing. I'm gonna stay. That would have been a base hit with me out there. He just put the perfect bunt down and he had to leave the game. And unfortunately, Barnes came in and threw up a first pitch bomb, and that was the game. And that just kind of ruined his number. So I think he has something to build on from that start, and it'll see how he goes his second start through. But he's got to back off. His game is sinker down and away to right-handers, hard four-seamer inside when he comes inside to keep him honest, and that good slider he's got. So the next start will be interesting to watch.
Haji's on the kitchen counter, by the way. I think I just heard him step on a bowl or a plate or something. He's rough. He's roughhousing. I saw his tail just kind of floating above the counter. And Stroman, if you start to think that he's gonna he's been talking the talk, now he could walk the walk. And speaking of walk, he's in a walk year, contract year again. You start to think that this could be a really big year for him.
Well, last year was a year when he came over, he opted out, so he hadn't pitched. But the year before, I mean, he's a Long Island kid, right? And he comes over midseason, which is always unsettling. He has his first start on the road, and then he has his second start at home. So it's like 2 opening days for him. And I didn't think he ever really settled in the 2 years ago. He had a great spring. He's got a really, really good tight slider, and he's got good command with it. And he's another guy that can't overthrow. And he's an emotional guy, and he's got to keep himself harnessed. He's got to keep the reins on his emotion and get the sinker. But he's got a tight slider. It doesn't break very much, but it's late. I could tell. And he knows how to put it on that, right on, just off the outside corner, and it breaks out of the strike zone. He knows how to pitch. And I thought he pitched great. And it's what he did in spring, what we saw all spring. So we'll see. It's one start, but I love what I've seen all spring, and I love what I saw in the first start.
All right, Keith. Well, this has been informative and fun as always, and we appreciate the insight on your Conforto reaction, as well as the emergency sound on your phone, a little bit of an explanation as to what happened with that. So we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. And thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you on the Shea Anything podcast once again next week.